What's up, YouTube? This is Red Develosa from Red Develosa Reviews. It's March time, so we know that time of the year. We got bracket season, we got tournament season, so what better way to celebrate this occasion by doing a bracket fight of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Now, I've recently seen the anime, and it's absolutely fantastic. Great characters, great story, great world building. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. If you're a sub person, if you're a dub person, it's great for both versions of the anime, so check it out if you haven't. And yeah, so we're using a website called bracketfights.com. It was inspired by a great YouTuber, WesSideLive. He's absolutely hilarious as a channel, so I highly recommend his channel as well. That link will be in the description down below. So for this particular bracket, I have the link in the description as well, so if you want to compare your list to my list, or if you want to see what I get, see what you get, and compare, it's totally up to you. And yeah, and the way I'm going to be ranking these characters is based on how they are characters, like how they're written, if they're well written or anything like that. So I'm not doing it based on who would win in a fight, because there are some situations where the character might be stronger, but the other character is a better written character. So keep that in mind. And with that, let's get on to the first bracket. So we got Buccaneer, the henchman from of Olivier's group, and Scar. Now, Buccaneer did have that fatal blow to Wrath that would allow Scar to beat Wrath in the end. But yeah, the thing, Scar is a really well written character. I'd have to go with Scar on this one. Now, forgive me for the pronunciation. Like, I've heard like I tried listening to many different pronunciations. They say chimera, chimera. There's like so many different pronunciations. I'm just gonna call them mutants. Easier for me, having a lot of Marvel videos on my channel. So this is the gorilla mutant, and this is the porcupine mutant. I think this is Zampano, I believe. I believe they were part of Kimberly's group until they found out they were being betrayed, and they went to work with Edward instead. I think they're both fine. I don't really remember too much comparatively, so I'm just gonna go with the gorilla one. Ling and Hawk. Oh, but you're doing this to me now. I really love Hawkeye. I really do. The way she outsmarted Envy when he was disguised as Mustang was absolutely great. But if I gotta be honest, Ling, especially with his merging with Greed, that's like top 5 right there. Top 5 character. And I gotta go with Ling. I'm sorry, Hawkeye. All right, Olivier and Rose. Rose was not in there that much. She was like that girl who completely had faith in that father who had the fake Philosopher's Stone. And then she was helping out a town, which was pretty cool, I guess. But Olivier is a badass. She's got the fighting ability, and she had more screen time too, so I had to give it to Olivier on this one. All right, I think this was this guy was into Maria Ross. Forgot the name. Forgive me, I don't remember all the names of the characters. And then Gluttony. I'm gonna have to give it to Gluttony on this one. Gluttony could be annoying from time to time, but it's also fine. Another one of Mustang's soldiers. I believe he called him the Pawn, and then this was Mustang's, not Mustang, Scar's brother. I don't think he had a name in the show. He didn't really have much to do, the brother, but he did make a huge a huge contribution to the end, especially in how Fullmetal Alchemist ends. So with that, I'm gonna have to give it to the brother. All right, Major Miles, and I think this is Nina, the one who turned into a chimera or mutant, the dog mutant later in the show, or I mean, in that episode. Yeah, that was a very, very emotional episode to go off on, but Major Miles had more screen time. He had more contributions, helping with Olivier and the stuff like that. So I'm gonna have to go with Major Miles on this one. Winry and Barry the Chopper. Winry for this one. Yeah. So this is Votto, and it's like one of the few Mustang soldiers that I remember, and the original Greed before he merged with Ling. Let's see, Greed. The original Greed, he didn't really have much to do. I mean, he had like his own squad of mutants that he had, and then he was killed by Wrath. Votto was helping on the side here and there for the heroes and all that, so I'm gonna have to give it to Votto here. Hohenheim and Fu. Fu was an absolute badass fighting against Wrath, and it was pretty hard to see him like put all of his efforts into trying to kill Wrath, only for him to get killed in the end. But Hohenheim is just a G. I'm gonna have to give it to Hohenheim. The girl from that village who had robotic legs or automail legs, and Wrath. Yeah, it's no competition. It's got to be Wrath or King Bradley for those of you who know his identity. May and Lanfan. May has her own special sort of alchemy, which is really interesting, which required like all the ninja stars to a particular shape to create her alchemy like that. So I found that pretty interesting as a concept. She could be annoying from here and there with like her huge attachment to Alphonse, but I mean it's understandable. She's like a child. It's a childhood crush at the end of the day. Lanfan was pretty cool as well. In terms of which one I think is better, I think I'll go with May on this one. All right, General Armstrong and Pinako, the one who raised Winry and the boys for their childhood. I gotta go with Armstrong here too. There's some characters that are really good, but I just can't it's hard to overtop them. Marco and the father who had the Philosopher's Stone. Marco. Yeah, when he took out Envy in his actual form, that was super badass. I was not expecting that at all. This was the dog Chimera that worked for the original Greed, and this is Mayhew's daughter. I don't really remember him too well. I just remember him getting killed off, so I'm gonna go with Mayhew's daughter on that one. Yoki and the Slicers, which had like two brothers, one person at the head and one person in the suit. Yoki was really annoying throughout. He had one cool moment. Other than that, I just don't really have too much. Slicer was only in one episode, but he was really badass, so I'm gonna give it to Slicer. All right, Scar and the Gorilla Mutant. Yeah, Scar. Ling and Olivier Ling. Gluttony and the Ishvalan brother, or Scar's brother. Still gonna go with Gluttony. I mean, he did a really important part, but again, those flashbacks as well, so there's that. Major Miles or Winry? I really like Winry. I think she's really cool. I'm gonna stick with Winry on this one. Vado or Hohenheim? Hohenheim. Let's not get it twisted. Wrath or May? Wrath is too badass. He may be like over the top, like with how OP he is, but I don't know. He's super cool as a character. General Armstrong or Marco? Very different characters to go up against. I think I'll stick with Armstrong. I think that's a better option. Let's see. Hughes' daughter or Slicers? I mean, these two don't really have much to do. I'm gonna stick with Hughes' daughter. Scar or Ling? Ling/Greed. These two are in my top 5, I would say. But I mean, that whole dynamic between Greed and Ling is so good. Especially like when they have like that argument of trying to figure out which personality would work best in this situation and which one would be better in that situation. So like that was really cool to see that. It's like kind of like Two-Face, but this is more of a hero, or not a hero, more like an anti-hero kind of sense. But I'm still gonna have to stick with Scar. His whole story has been super top notch from start to finish. Where like Ling and Greed, they kind of like were great when they were together mostly. When they were separated, I don't think there was that much to go off on. So I'm gonna stick with Scar. Gluttony or Winry? I'm still sticking with Winry. I don't know, maybe I'm gassing her up too much, but I'm gonna stick with that. Hohenheim or Wrath? That would have been a great fight to see. King Bradley is a G, but Hohenheim is a much better written character, so I'm going to stick with Hohenheim. Armstrong or May's daughter? I'm going to, Armstrong. Armstrong's a G. I'm going to keep him. Scar or Winry? Okay, the Winry streak is done. Alright, so if any of you call me a simp for that, yeah, it's done. Scar's better. Hohenheim or Armstrong? Hohenheim. Hohenheim and Scar. Now both of these are also in my top 5. Hohenheim has a very interesting storyline. Scar has a very interesting storyline as well. Hohenheim having this whole connection with the homunculus and his attachment to pretty much the entire plot, and you kind of see him off as like, he kind of looks like as the bad guy, and all that too when you first watch the show or the anime, and he just has like, and this sort of thing is like so cool to see that play out, and then you see his backstory and how he's not actually a bad person. He was just put in a situation that he was not able to control, and then his final ending with him at his wife's grave is just so good altogether. I'm gonna have to keep Hohenheim, and Hohenheim is in the finals. We got Lust and another guy from Mustang's group. I really don't remember Mustang's group that well, if I'm going to be honest. So I'm going to stick with Lust here. Even though Lust didn't really have that much to do in the show. Mustang and Sig. I really like Sig. It was pretty cool. And then you have that meme with the him and Armstrong that was pretty funny as well. But Mustang. All right. This girl who remembers like the minute detail of like to the smallest degree, and the guy who turned Nina into the mutant. This guy is a bitch. Can't stand him. Even though he's well written, and I understand what he was trying to say, I just can't forgive him for doing that. So I'm gonna stick with the memory girl. Heinkel. This is the one mutant that I remembered by name. He's the lion one, and another. This one works for Bradley. Heinkel had a lot of good moments, especially when he was able to give the fatal blow to Kimberly in the end. That was very badass as well. So I'm gonna stick with him. These are the two people in the village that Winry would work for in the Automail area. I don't really remember them too well either. I just remember they were there. I'm just gonna stick with one of them. May Hughes and the lizard Chimera that worked for the original Greed. May Hughes. Yeah. Alphonse and Havoc, right? This is the one who would be hospitalized for the rest of the season after a certain point. Yeah, Alphonse. Yeah. Izumi and Edward. Now Izumi is super badass as well. She's a great character. Great fighter as well. And we got to learn about her. Like, she also used the human transmutation to try and bring her dead child back to life, which would sacrifice her internal organs. And it's a really sad storyline as well, but she's also very capable of fighting, and she's a very interesting character as well. But Edward, it's Edward, the main hero, and a lot of it, the perspective goes on his side, so I'm gonna stick with Edward. If Izumi was in a different spot, I would have put her probably higher up as well, but I have to go with what it was given. This was the bull mutant, and this was the snake mutant, who she was the one who was in Alphonse's body when Wrath was trying to kill everybody, all the other mutants there. I don't really remember him. I remember her more, so I'm just gonna stick with her. All right, this is May Hughes' wife, and this was Bradley's wife. Both didn't really have too much to do all together, so I'm just gonna stick with Bradley's wife, because at least she had more to do later down the line. So I'm gonna stick with her. All right, Sloth and Maria Ross. Sloth was like, he was fine as a Chimera. I mean as a homunculus. But in comparison to the other ones, I just feel like they're a lot more interesting, especially like Greed and Envy and all that. And then like, yeah, apparently like Sloth is like the fastest homunculus out there, which is interesting. Also, now I didn't really get to see the original Fullmetal Alchemist, the one before the Brotherhood, but I am aware of like the fact that they used that homunculus. I believe the Sloth one was they took the form of like Trisha's body, which was like the Elric brothers' mother. So I felt like that would have been more like a personal relationship, having to fight what looks like your mother, and that would have been, I think that would have been interesting to see. Maria Ross, she had the that fake out death in the at the beginning with Mustang, where Mustang, it looked like Mustang killed her, but she actually didn't die. And then she became a very helpful piece that would help bring in the artillery and all the guns and all that for the group towards the end of the series. So I'm gonna stick with Maria Ross. Envy and Goldtooth. Not too much with Goldtooth. There, Envy is much more interesting as a character, like I've said before, so I'm gonna stick with Envy. The Frog mutant and Trisha, the mother. I mean, I really like Trisha. She's interesting, but she didn't really have that much to do other than flashbacks. So I'm gonna stick with the Frog mutant. One of the guys who was helping under Mustang and Kimberly. I'm gonna stick with Kimberly. I just found that really interesting, that dynamic of him like basically wiping out the Ishvalans to get a Philosopher's Stone, being a huge contribution to that, and then him and Pride was a good counteracting relationship as well to see. So I'm gonna stick with Kimberly here. All right, Pride and the one person who would help Mustang for here and there. Don't remember too much about her, so I'm gonna stick with Pride. All right, Lust and Mustang. Mustang, do it to her. It's Mustang. All right. He already beat her once, he'll beat her again. We'll do that. Heinko and the every detail lady. I'm gonna stick with Heinko on this one. May Hughes and the guy from the village. I'm gonna stick with May Hughes. The Elric brothers. I really like Alphonse. Now I get like people say that he was kind of annoying with his like optimism and all that. And I mean, I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, I'm a fan of Superman, so I'm kind of used to that kind of character. But I still like, I mean, it's pretty hard to really gauge which one I want to. But I think I'm gonna stick with Edward at the end of the day. But Alphonse, though, when he had the Philosopher's Stone and he was going up against Kimberly and Pride, that was super badass. That was absolutely great to see as well. But I'm gonna stick with Edward on this one. The Snake, Chimera, and Bradley's wife. I'm gonna stick with Bradley's wife. Again, the Snake Chimera was only there for like that episode, really. Maria Ross and Envy. The Frog, Chimera, and Kimberly. I'm gonna stick with Kimberly. Pride and the Father, or the all homunculus. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Father on this one. Pride is good, but the Father is just, it's the Father. Mustang and Heinkel. Yeah, I'm gonna Mustang. May Hughes or Edward? Bradley's wife, Envy. Kimberly and the Father. Mustang or Edward? That is very difficult. really like Mustang. And I really like Edward as well. But if I'm gonna be honest, I think I like Mustang more. Now it's kind of weird that like 3 of my favorite characters are blind. Like Daredevil and Toph from Avatar. So it's interesting that in Fullmetal, one of my favorite characters is also blind as well. So I guess it says something about me. I don't know. You figure that out. Envy and the Father. That was tough. But I think I'll stick with the Father on this one. And the final round, Mustang and the Father. The Father is really good. I mean, you know, he's completely tied with Hohenheim altogether. But I just really like Mustang. I don't know. I'm gonna stick with Mustang. And the final round, Hohenheim and Mustang. Oh God. I really like both of their arcs. They're both really well written. I mean, a lot of these characters are really well written. But I just think Hohenheim just takes the edge by a slight margin, but I think he takes the edge over Mustang. And yeah, so that was my bracket for the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood group. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this ranking. Do you like this type of content on my channel? I could do more if you want me to. Just let me know. Let me know on how you thought of my ranking. Do you think anything I should have changed them up? Depending on the round, you tell me. Thanks for watching. If you like reviews and opinions on movies, comics, TV shows, and video games, you can support my channel by clicking the like button, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications for future videos. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Peace.